Hello guys, welcome back to Techdose, and in this video we will see the maximum square problem, which is from Leetcode day 27 of the 30 days coding challenge. So let us look at the problem statement. The problem here says that we are given a m by n binary matrix. This is a rectangular binary matrix where we need to find the largest square matrix, and the square matrix is formed only by ones. So this is a very simple problem statement. In the first example you can see that our matrix is of size 2 by 2. That is a square matrix of size 2. So we will have to return its area, that is 4. In the second example you can see that there are two possible largest square matrices. So these are both are of size 2 by 2. So we will be returning 4 in this case, which is the area of the largest square matrix. So I hope you got the problem statement. So let us look at the property of a square matrix. In a square matrix, if you move from this top left corner in these three directions, then your length of these ones will come out to be same. This will be true even if you move from this down right direction. So in this case it will come out to be 3. So length of row, column and diagonal will all be same in a square matrix. So how can we solve this problem? Well, one approach is that if we can find the longest flow of ones in this row direction, column direction and in the diagonal, then we can be sure that that is a square matrix. Okay, so if all these lengths are equal, then that will be a square matrix. In this example you can see that this is the largest square matrix of size 2 by 2, because in all these three directions you will have lengths equal, and these are basically the largest length which is possible in this entire matrix. This is of length 2. So your area will be 4, so 4 will be returned. Now can you apply DFS to solve this problem? Yes, DFS can be applied if you make calls in all these three directions, passing appropriate variables and flags along with the current length of the matrix which you have found. And as soon as you hit 0, then you will return. And as soon as you hit 0, then you will return back to the caller. So this is one of the easy way to solve this problem, but then this will take a lot of time and you will not be able to pass all the test cases. So I will not be explaining this method. Now let us make some more observations. So let us say we are given a matrix. Let's say all values are 1. So in this case, if we know about the size of a square matrix, let's say we are told that this is a square matrix which is of size 2 by 2. Now when we see this 1, then can we extend this square matrix to form a 3 by 3 matrix? So what are the conditions? This one should be adjacent to this square matrix. This is the first condition. The current index ij should have value 1, and second condition is that this ij should be adjacent to this current square matrix. Okay, so if these two conditions are sufficed, then we will have to check if this column is having all ones up to this length, and if this part of the row is having all ones till this part. Okay, so if this is true, then we can extend this square matrix to include this current one as well, and from size 2 by 2 it will reach a size of 3 by 3. Similarly, if we are at this one, then can we extend this square matrix? Yes, in this case you can see that yes, it is possible, because this is adjacent to this square matrix which we had already found, and then this entire part is 1 and this left side part is 1 up to this length only. We do not care about the values which are behind this, because it will not form a square matrix in this case. So this can also be extended. So what is a property which you can observe here? You can observe that if we can solve a smaller subproblem, then that can lead to solving a bigger subproblem. Because when we are finding whether a square matrix can be possible by this one, then what we are saying is we are just seeing these column values and these column values, but we are not searching for all the values in this matrix which has already been determined. So we are actually making use of the previously calculated matrix, that is previously calculated values, to determine whether the current index can enlarge this matrix or not. So that is the entire idea of the optimal substructure. So this is optimal substructure. You can see that a problem can be broken down into smaller problems, and by solving these smaller problems you can solve this entire matrix problem as well. So you can divide this entire matrix into smaller submatrices and find the largest square matrix in each of those submatrices, and you can join them and see if you can enlarge that matrix by joining, and hence you will find the largest matrix. So I am not very sure if you are able to understand this. Let us say we have a bigger container and inside that we have 3 different containers. Now we are told only about this container 3, that it has a ball which is having a volume of x meter cube. Now your goal is to find the largest ball in the container, that is the ball with the highest volume. Now you can be sure that your largest sized ball will have volume greater than equals to x meter cube, since you already know that one of the ball is having x meter cube. So this concept is very important to solve this matrix problem as well, because here you will find many different matrices. Let's say these values are zeros. Okay, so if these values were zeros, then you could not have formed 4 by 4 matrix. What could have been the largest matrix which you could have formed? This would have been one matrix of size 2 by 2. This could have been one matrix of size 2 by 2. But then this could have been a matrix of size 3 by 3. And this is the largest matrix which you could have formed. So whenever you are forming matrices, then you will have to keep track of the largest matrix which you have formed so far, because there can be many different matrix sizes starting at many different points, and many of the points can be overlapping between the matrices. So one important thing to solve this problem is to remember the largest square matrix which you have found so far. So we have seen the optimal substructure property and why do we need to maintain the largest matrix size as well. In order to apply dynamic programming, DP can only be applied if we use previously calculated solution to build current solution. And since we will be applying the table method, so in DP what we do is, for calculating this DP at ij, we will be making use of the previously calculated solutions. So let's say if we are solving from this point 0, 0 and we are moving from left to right and then from top to down, this is our solution direction. Like we are solving like this, we are solving just row wise. Okay, so what all values will be available if you are at a given point I comma j? Let's say this is I comma j, then what all values will be available? These top values will be available, these left hand side values will be available, these diagonally top left values will be available, and also diagonally top right values will also be available. So why did I say this diagonally top right? Because only this row and further below rows will not be available, but if you move at least one row above, then all the values to the right hand side will also be available. So these are the 4 directions which you can use to solve the current cell problem. Okay, but in our case, as you can remember, we need to see only in 3 directions in order to solve I comma jth point. So we can see that DP can be applied to this method since it has optimal substructure, and we can use the previously calculated solutions to solve the current problem. We need to keep track of whether the adjacent ones are part of the bigger square matrix or not. So let us say we are given a square matrix of size 3 by 3 and we start processing from this first value. Okay, and we don't have the knowledge about entire matrix until we traverse. So for this first value, we will have a matrix of size 1 by 1 only, because there is no values to the top left and diagonally left. So it will be filled with 1. Now when you move to next value, then what is the largest square matrix which you have formed? It will also be of one size only. Okay, now the next value is 1, so it will also be of 1 size. If you move to this value, then the largest square matrix here is only 1, because you cannot see the future elements. Okay, you can only see the past elements which you have traversed. So seeing only these 4 elements, what is the largest matrix size which you can form at this point? It is of size 1. Okay, now when we move on to the next element, this one, so you have already seen 4 elements and you are at the 5th element. So the largest square matrix which can be formed is this one, and this is of size 2 by 2. So I have written 2 here. If we move to this next element, largest matrix will be of size 2 by 2. So this one is the matrix, so I have written 2 here. And similarly, if you reach here, there will be square matrix of itself only. So it will be of size 1. The next value will form square matrix of size 2. So it will be 2. And the next value will contain all of this matrix in a square matrix. And it is of size 3 by 3. So it is 3. So I hope you understood how we are capturing the size of the square matrix which we have seen so far. And while solving, you will have to maintain a largest variable which will keep track of the largest square matrix which you have formed so far. Now you can see that in this example, if you have these filled as 1 1 1, then in the DP table, this will be filled by the largest square matrix which it can form by including this element. So this will be filled by value 2, because this will form a matrix of size 2 by 2. So I hope you are understanding it. Now let us see the next point. We need to make sure that there are no adjacent zeros to add current index to form a larger square matrix. So the first condition is you need to have ones in all these three directions in order to it to be able to expand the size of the square matrix. So when you are at this one, then you can see that in this diagonal direction there is a 0. So you cannot add this element to a larger matrix. So this will be of size only 1. But at the same position in this matrix, you can see that all these three diagonal elements are having 1s. So you can form a square matrix. So this will be your square matrix of size 2. So this point is also very important. Therefore, you need to take the minimum of all these three directions. So if the minimum in all these three directions comes out to be 1, then you can extend the size of your square matrix by adding 1 to whatever the minimum values in all three directions comes out to be. If the minimum value comes out to be 0, then you cannot extend it, and so your answer will be a 1 by 1 matrix. That is, the element itself forms a square matrix. If you find a value 1, this indicates that you can add this element to form a square matrix of size 2 by 2. But if you find even larger values, let's say these values were 2, 2, 2, then this one could have been added there to form a square matrix of size 3 by 3. So your answer could have been 3. So this is the approach, like we need to find the minimum in all these three directions to make sure if by adding this element can we extend the size of the square matrix or the size be same. Okay, so I hope you are understanding it. Now since we saw all these points, we will use those points to fill this DP table, and I hope you will be able to understand this. Now the DP table will always be of the size +1 in terms of rows and +1 in terms of columns. Okay, so the first row and first column will be filled by zeros since they are just out of bounds. Okay, so these zeros have only been taken to take care of the out of bound cases. So we will start processing from this first element. Now since we have seen this first element 1, then we will see all these three adjacent cases and take the minimum of these three elements and see if we can extend the size of the square matrix. So you can see that minimum is 0. So if you add 1 to it, this is the formula. If you add 1 to it, then what will be your maximum size? It will be 1. So this indicates that there was at least 1 0 in these three directions, and therefore you were not able to extend the size of your square matrix. Now when it is 0, then you will simply copy 0. When you have 1, then you will see all these three directions take the minimum and add 1 to it. So in this case, at least one direction is having 0, so you will add 1 and it will be 1, indicating that this cannot extend the square matrix in these three directions. So you have the next one. This will also be filled by 1, this will also be filled by 1 similarly. Now we are at 1, 0. This is 1. So this will be checked in all the three directions. Minimum is 0. So 1 will be added. It will be 1. This indicates that you cannot extend the size of square matrix by using this one. Now you have a 0. So 0 will be copied for 0. Now you have a 1. Now since you have 1 here, you will take minimum in these three directions, add 1 to it. So this element cannot extend the square matrix in these three directions which I have shown. Now you are at the next element. Now the next element is also 1. So you will see the minimum in all these three directions. So minimum is 1. You will add 1 to it. Now this will become 2. So this indicates that by using this element, you can extend the size of the square matrix in these three directions, in the directions which I have already mentioned, since we are solving this using these three directions. So if you add this one, then you can extend and form this larger square matrix which is of size 2 by 2. Therefore I have kept this value as 2. And by the way, I forgot to update this largest variable. You will have to keep updating it. So it will now be 2. Now we move on to the next element. This is 1. Now since this is 1, so we will have to take minimum in all these three directions. It is 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. So if you include this 1, then it can extend the size of the square matrix moving in these three directions. So what will be that matrix? It will be this matrix. So I hope you are understanding it. Now we process this one. So this is 1. Minimum in these 3 directions is 0. So this will be 1. So boundary elements on the left hand side cannot extend actually. This is another observation. Now when you are at this one, you can see that above is 0, so you don't have to check any other values. You will simply copy 1 here. Now you are at this one. So again there is a 0, you will just copy 1 here. You have another one. So you will see all these 3 directions. Minimum is 2, 1, 1, which will be 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. So you will write 2 here. Okay. Now you move to the next element. This is also 1. So minimum of these 3 directions is 2. 2 plus 1 will be 3. This indicates that if you include this element, then you can extend the size of this square matrix if you move in these 3 directions. So including these 3 directions, the square matrix is this one. So this is the larger matrix. This is of size 3 by 3. So we have written 3 here. Now the largest is smaller than the current value. So largest will again be updated to 3. Now simply we will process the rest of the elements as well. This will be 1. These are 0 values. So it will be 0. This one will be compared. So here it is a 0. It will be 1. And the last value is 0. So it will be 0. So whatever is stored in the largest matrix is the length of the square matrix. Okay. And you are required to return the area of the matrix. So you will return largest multiplied by largest. So the answer will come out to be 9. And I hope you are able to understand this formulation. This is based on our previous observations. Now this matrix method will take order of m into n space and order of m into n time. So this is a simple DP approach. Now you can even further optimize the space complexity, because you can see that while solving this, you needed only this largest variable in order to keep track of the largest size square matrix which you have formed. And when you were at a current cell I, j, then you needed to see only 3 values: top, this top left, and this left values. So if you can maintain this previous row and this current row, then by using these 2 rows, you will be able to solve this entire solution in just order of n extra space, where n is the number of columns. So I hope you understood this solution. So let us now look at the code which I have written. In this code we have received this matrix. I have found the number of rows. If rows are 0, then we will return 0. Otherwise find the number of columns. Now I have taken a 2D DP vector. So I have solved it using order of mn extra space. I have taken a largest variable initially initialized to 0. Now I will process each and every cell using the formula which I have already explained you. And if we find at any point that the largest is less than any of the values at DP at ij, then we will update this largest value. And finally, since the largest will be containing the side length of the largest square matrix, so we will be multiplying it with the largest again to find the area of the square matrix. So this will be our answer. I hope you were able to understand this solution. If you have any other approach or solution in different languages, then do post in the comment section so that everyone can take benefit from it. Like and share our video and subscribe to our channel in order to watch more of this programming videos. See you in our next video. Thank you.